Buongiorno tutti. Welcome to Venice. Welcome back to Venice. On a very windy day. It got pretty cold, but I mean, no complaints here. So I'm standing on top of the very world famous Rialto Bridge. Not the popular side. That's too full. It's the unpopular side, calmer side. If I can get a word in edgewise. Yeah, today was a pretty great day. A little travel tip for everybody out there. If you're going on an adventure out somewhere like Italy, and especially if you're going to be staying a long time, do yourself a favor. First couple nights that you're in, take a food tour. In particular, a street food tour, because the benefit of it is, and I've learned this by accident, but I'm using it in practice in Venice, is that you get a nice introduction to your city, and with a guide who knows a lot about the city and will be very enthusiastic about telling you all the great spots in their city, and you get to eat. And further, you get to find out where the food is, which I thought was pretty important. I'm taking a market tour along with a cooking class tomorrow, which will definitely, one of the reasons why I took it was to make sure that I knew where I could find supplies for cooking myself, or for myself, but also learning a new skill and maybe putting that in practice, right? Still haven't been able to make myself pizza at home, but I'm working on that. But yeah, that's what I did today. Sylvia was our tour guide. She took us to some really cool spots, and I learned a couple new terms. Cicchetti, which is basically the Italian version, or at least the Venetian version of tapas. I was also warned not to call it tapas, but it's basically kind of the same thing. Different dishes, but they're all small and tasting, or kind of a tasting menu kind of thing. And so today I had a lot of interesting little dishes to try. Ironically, I was actually called the brave one, because she would take us to these places and you'd have a choice of these little dishes, and there'd be about a dozen of them. And I was, there was stuff like octopus and tomato sauce. It's like, okay, let's try that. And then some sardines and anchovies and all kinds of fun things. I thought it was funny because, of course, the first place we stopped was salami, cheese, and olives, and I would not touch the cheese. To be polite, I popped it like a pill because it was so gross. I mean, everybody loved, the people who liked the cheese, they all loved the cheese. It was apparently really, really good cheese, but at the end of the day, that still means it's cheese. So, yeah, I was the one not eating the basic stuff, but I tried the octopus. Can you do? It was fun. But yeah, I also got to meet some people, which normally I'm not really super excited about, but everyone was super nice. Met some people from mostly the British Isles, Scottish and some Irish and some British. So yeah, it was really cool. In fact, I met a guy. He asked me where I lived. I said, south of Toronto. He's like, oh, like in the Hamilton area? And I'm like, exactly, Hamilton. That is exactly what. Apparently his daughter lives close by, so very cool. That doesn't happen very often over here. The other word that I learned today was baccato, which is, like, I have to ask somebody the difference between a ristorante and a trattoria, and just a bunch of others that are just called bar or whatever. But baccato comes from the term fun, happiness, that kind of thing. And so it's a place to go have fun. And usually they're cicchetti, or they have cicchetti, tapas, not tapas. and you drink and all that kind of stuff. And I almost tried a spritz today. I was waiting in line for a spritz, and the funny thing is my Canadianness came out because someone cut in line, and the worst part about people cutting in line is the fact that as soon as someone does that, everyone else just kind of assumes that they could also do that as well. So that's what happened. I just kind of stood there and people were just walking in front of me and all that. So but I found out there's also a Venetian spritz, which I'm definitely going to try. Today was not the moment to do that because I would have had to wait indefinitely in a line where everyone was just cutting in front of me. But you got to cut your losses, right? At some point, it's just like, yeah, I'm going to go home. Well, not home, but yeah. Anyway, travel tip: take a food tour. Definitely take a food tour. And the other, you'll discover the city, you'll find new places to eat, and you'll find ways to feed yourself. And on top of everything else, you'll get introduced to the city. You'll hear great stories, and I've already written down a few things. In fact, she reminded me. She mentioned that there was this yoga studio that apparently Dante slept in, which is kind of cool. But also has like you practice underneath a fresco from the 1700s, which I thought was pretty kind of cool. And it made me realize I haven't done yoga in a long time. So maybe I'll do that, because I think yoga in a under a fresco from the 1700s just sounds perfect. And my body could probably use the stretching out and relaxing a little bit anyway, right? I should have been doing it the whole time. So I may check that out. I may check it out. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I've got the location marked and everything, and should be great. The other thing I should mention too is I'm really taking advantage of Airbnb. Right, that's how I'm finding the tours and the experiences that I'm on. They're called Airbnb experiences. You just go on the site. They got the one tab for places to stay, and then the experiences. And actually a friend who may even be watching this. He's got a really cool experience in Hamilton, where he takes people to all the falls. And where like, how would you like all the falls in Hamilton, and I think he goes to Niagara Falls and that, but how would you know that kind of tour exists, really? Airbnb, you just kind of like look and say, hey, I'm in this town, what's going on, kind of thing, and there they all are. The downside is apparently they take like 20% from the people running the experiences, so it's a little pricey, but like for your tour guides, and in theory, like if you could do it offline, that would be better. But at the same time, though, it's so easy, and like I'm in Venice, right? I don't want to deal with like trying to find cash to pay a tour guide or anything like that. So I just go on the experiences. I go, yeah, that sounds cool. Let's do that, and I just pay for it. So, and I wouldn't know really where to find them. And they have reviews and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really like, I totally recommend Airbnb experiences for finding stuff to do while you're here. And some of the experiences are really cool, which I'll tell you about one next week when I take it. It's going to be fun. But again, I wouldn't even know where to look if I didn't just like go on a website with a bunch of experiences listed. So. Cool. Anyway, I hope everyone else is doing well. Everyone out there, take care of yourselves. Plan your next adventure. I gotta go home. I gotta go to bed early because I have to get up for my cooking class. So with that said, a domani, arrivederci, and ciao.